All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Naresh Magho and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Jagat Guru Sri Sant Tukaram Maharaj Shila Mandir at Dehu in Pune today. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls for permanent solutions for food security at WTO ministerial meeting in Geneva. Centre directs e-commerce food business operators to submit proposals on improving consumer grievance redressal mechanism within 15 days. Jammu and Kashmir tops among all union territories in e-governance services delivery, saves 200 crore rupees annually. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia urges people to follow COVID-appropriate behavior in view of rising cases. China restarts visa application process for Indian nationals after 18 months. Issue of return of students to China be handled separately. 2 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, including one from Pakistan, killed in Jammu and Kashmir. Snan Yatra of Lord Jagannath is being held in Puri today. Khelo India Youth Games 2021 conclude. Haryana tops the tally with 137 medals. And in cricket, third 2020 international between India and South Africa to be played in Visakhapatnam this evening. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. Recalling our yesterday's question, name the freedom fighter popularly known as Lok Nayak, who translated Gandhiji's autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, into Assamese. The correct answer is Lok Nayak Omeo Kumar Das, an Assamese social worker, a Gandhian by ideology, an educationist, and a well-known writer. In 1963, the Government of India awarded him the Padma Bhushan for his contributions to the society. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Tushar Subhash Dhotre from Dufferin Chowk in Solapur, Maharashtra.
Namaskar to all listeners. I am Tushar Dhotre from City of Hutatmas, that is Solapur in Maharashtra. I am very happy to be the part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by participating in informative quiz competition. Also, I am enriching my knowledge and availing myself with the daily news which kept me updated to current India's and world affairs. Jai Hind.
And now coming to today's question, which is the 88th of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz in English. Which freedom fighter described the Nimu Chana massacre worse than the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? I will repeat the question for you. Which freedom fighter described the Nimu Chana massacre worse than the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? Listeners can send their responses to the question over WhatsApp on 88265 46262. Repeat, 88265 46262 or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. One lucky participant will be selected as a winner and will be announced in tomorrow's morning news. The winner will be awarded a certificate and a token prize. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is arriving on a one-day visit to Maharashtra today. He will inaugurate Jagat Guru Sri Sant Tukaram Maharaj Shila Mandir at Dehu near Pune at around 1:45 p.m. In his first leg of the tour, various events will be held in his presence in the historical city of Dehu near Pune. The entire Warkari sect is enthusiastic about this first visit of the Prime Minister to Dehu. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said he feels blessed to have the opportunity to inaugurate Jagat Guru Sri Sant Tukaram Maharaj Temple. Mr. Modi said he, along with every other individual, is inspired by the divine teachings of Sant Tukaram, particularly on the Sant's emphasis to serve the society and empower the downtrodden. More about this from our Pune correspondent.
The city of Dehu near Pune is sanctified by the Jagat Guru Sant Tukaram Maharaj, a renowned poet and worshipper of Lord Vithala from 17th century. This place is highly revered, especially by the Warkari sect, for whom the verses written by Sant Tukaram, fondly called Tukoba, are the essence of their life. A palanquin in his name is set out from this holy town every year to another holy town of Pandharpur in the month of June, and the Warkari join the procession on foot for almost 250 kilometers. This is the first time the Prime Minister is visiting Dehu city, and he will first visit the main temple and pay homage to the self-styled idol of Vitthal and Rukmini. The main inauguration ceremony of Sheela Mandir will be held after that, and the manuscript of Tukoba's original verses will be shown to the Prime Minister. Later, the Prime Minister will be felicitated by the temple trustees. The Prime Minister will then address thousands of Warkaris arrived in Dehu for the pilgrimage. After the events at Dehu, the Prime Minister will leave for Mumbai for his second leg of tour. Manoj Kshirsagar, AIR News, Pune.
Later in the day, the Prime Minister will visit Mumbai, where the first program will take place in Raj Bhavan, in which he will inaugurate the Jal Bhushan building and Gallery of Revolutionaries. The gallery is linked to a bunker discovered in 2016, which was used to house arms and ammunition by the British in pre-independence days. He is also scheduled to participate in the Dvishatabdi Mahotsav, or the 200th anniversary celebrations of Mumbai Samachar at the Bandra Kurla complex. Mumbai Traffic Police has announced restrictions in view of the Prime Minister's visit to the city today. Accordingly, entry of all vehicles will not be allowed on the BKC connector and through the Kurla Razak Junction, MTNL Junction, Platina Junction, the Trident Junction towards the Geo World Center and the American Consulate. These regulations will remain in force from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has pressed India's case for countries to be allowed to restrict food grain exports to the World Food Programme WFP from their public stockpiles, saying the UN agency has failed to respond adequately to help people in hunger. On a second day at the World Trade Organization's WTO's ministerial meeting in Geneva, Mr. Goyal also delivered India's demand for patent waivers as part of the international response to the COVID-19 pandemic. India wants countries to be allowed to restrict WFP exports and to use these food grains for humanitarian aid, including government-to-government assistance. Mr. Goyal also raised the concerns that a permanent solution on public stockholding, a long-standing Indian demand, will not be finalized in the ongoing meeting. The Centre has directed e-commerce food business operators to submit proposals on improving consumer grievance redressal mechanism within 15 days. Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution Ministry has asked e-commerce food business operators to transparently show the breakup of all charges included in the order amount, such as delivery charges, packaging charges, taxes and surge pricing. These operators have also been advised to allow consumers the choice to share their contact information with restaurants. The ministry said several grievances have been registered on the National Consumer Helpline 1915 for Swiggy and Zomato during the past 12 months. Most of the grievances are related to deficiency in services and delivery of defective products.
Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh is informed that Jammu and Kashmir has topped among all the Union territories in e-governance services delivery. He said this has also enabled Jammu and Kashmir to save around 200 crore rupees annually incurred while carrying physical files during the annual Darbar move between the two capital cities of the Union territory. Speaking after releasing the second edition of National E-Governance Service Delivery Assessment Report 2021, prepared by Department of Administrative Reforms in a workshop in New Delhi, the minister apprised that 28 ministries and departments have already adopted e-Office version 7.0, along with digitization of the central registration units, which has enabled creation of paperless secretariats where receipts, files and correspondence move online. Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw has launched Startups for Railways in New Delhi. This startups policy aims to leverage innovative technologies developed by Indian startups, MSMEs, innovators and entrepreneurs to improve operational efficiency and safety of Indian railways. The policy, which is a part of Indian Railways Innovation Program, will bring scale and efficiency in the field of operation, maintenance, and infrastructure creation through participation of very large and untapped startup ecosystem. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Vaishnav said, through this platform, startups will get a good opportunity to connect with railways.
जो प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स लिए गए वो 100 से ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस आए थे रेलवे के विभिन्न डिपार्टमेंट से, फील्ड ऑफिसेज से, रेलवे से जुड़े हुए जितने भी लोग हैं उन सब से। उसमें से पहले चरण में 11 प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट्स को लिया गया और बहुत ही वाजिब, बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट, जैसे रेल फ्रैक्चर। रेल फ्रैक्चर एक ऐसा महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है कि अगर आप उसका कोई इनोवेटिव सोल्यूशन निकाल पाए तो मेरे ख्याल से ये कई सारे इंसिडेंट्स को रोक सकता है। हेडवे रिडक्शन, दो ट्रेन के बीच में अगर गैप कम करके चला लें, कैपेसिटी कितनी बढ़ सकती है। इस तरह के बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स हैं जिसको स्टार्टअप के सामने रखा जाएगा।
Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, has said that COVID is not over yet. There are reports of rising cases of COVID in some states. Dr. Mandavia stressed that it is important at this time to be alert and not forget COVID-appropriate behavior, such as wearing masks and maintaining physical distance to prevent spread of the infection. Dr. Mandavia said this yesterday while he chaired a meeting through video conferencing with health ministers and senior officials of states and union territories to review the progress of vaccination exercise Har Ghar Dastak 2.0 campaign. Dr. V.K. Paul, member Health Niti Aayog and the chairman of National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19, has said that COVID is still present in the country and one should not lower the guard against the pandemic. He said this last evening while participating in a program on Corona Jagrukta series on All India Radio.
पिछले दिनों में देख रहे हैं कि ओवरऑल देश में खासकर 4-5 जो राज्य हैं वहां पे केसेस में बढ़ोतरी हुई है। फॉर्चुनेटली हॉस्पिटल जाने की जरूरत, सीरियस डिजीज की संभावना, मृत्यु की संभावना कम है। लेकिन सबक ये मिलता है कि ये वायरस अभी भी यहीं पे घूम रहा है, ये चला नहीं गया, देश में है। तो वायरस क्योंकि कहीं गया नहीं है तो इस स्थिति को हमें इस तरह से लेना चाहिए कि जो हमारी चौकसी है वो कम नहीं हो सकती है। हमारी जो जिम्मेवारी है वो और ठीक हमारा जो बिहेवियर है वो हम उसमें कोताही नहीं बरत सकते।
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Jagat Guru Sri Sant Tukaram Maharaj Shila Mandir at Dehu in Pune today. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls for permanent solutions for food security at WTO ministerial meeting in Geneva. Centre directs e-commerce food business operators to submit proposals on improving consumer grievance redressal mechanism within 15 days. Jammu and Kashmir tops among all union territories in e-governance services delivery, saves 200 crore rupees annually. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia urges people to follow COVID-appropriate behavior in view of rising cases. China restarts visa application process for Indian nationals after 18 months. Issue of return of students to China be handled separately. 2 Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists, including one from Pakistan, killed in Jammu and Kashmir. Snan Yatra of Lord Jagannath is being held in Puri today. Khelo India Youth Games 2021 conclude. Haryana topped the tally with 137 medals. And in cricket, third 2020 international between India and South Africa to be played in Visakhapatnam this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
क्या आप कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं? आपके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो लाया है प्रोग्राम अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जहां आप सवाल भेजते हैं व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289909444 पर या फिर ईमेल करते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर। आपके सवालों के जवाब हमारे एक्सपर्ट देते हैं हर शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे। इस बार का विषय है इंडियन सोसाइटी, भारतीय समाज, और सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 15 जून। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
China has restarted the visa application process for Indian nationals after a hiatus of more than 18 months, as it had effectively banned visa for Indians and flights to and from India since November 2020. The Chinese embassy in New Delhi issued a notice on its website yesterday saying that foreign nationals and their accompanying family members going to China for resumption of work and production in all fields may apply for visas. However, it does not state whether Indian students waiting to return to their colleges in China can apply. The notice also says that visa applications are temporarily suspended for tourism and other private purposes. After Dr. Jaishankar's personal intervention with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi during his India visit in March, China in April had finally agreed to permit return of some Indian students. A list of students who will be allowed to return to China has been sent by the Indian side to the Chinese side. Prasar Bharati Beijing reports that the issue of return of Indian students is being handled separately. High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh Vikram Doraiswamy has said that the relationship between India and Bangladesh will be further strengthened by working together in areas like startups, cyber security and interoperable digital payment system IDPS. High Commissioner Doraiswamy held a meeting with ICT State Minister Zunaid Ahmed Palak in Dhaka to review the progress of the ongoing high-tech parks and other ICT-related projects at the Bangladesh High-Tech Park Authority.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 2 terrorists of proscribed terror outfit Lashkar-e-Toiba (LET) were neutralized by Srinagar police in a swift encounter late last night in Bemina area of Srinagar city. Kashmir Zone Police, while quoting Inspector General of Police Kashmir Vijay Kumar in a series of tweets, said that as per documents and other incriminating materials recovered from them, one of the killed terrorists has been identified as Abdullah Gojri, resident of Faisalabad in Pakistan, while the other has been identified as Adil Hussain Mir, alias Sufia, of Pahalgam in Anantnag district. As per police records, he crossed over to Pakistan in 2018 on a visa visit from Waqar. One policeman has also received minor injuries in the operation. The IGP Kashmir has termed the operation as a big success for Jammu and Kashmir police. Further details are awaited. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Principal Secretary to Lieutenant Governor Nitishwar Kumar yesterday took an extensive tour of Baltal to have first-hand appraisal of arrangements for the forthcoming Sri Amarnath Ji Yatra via Baltal route. Speaking on the occasion, the Principal Secretary reiterated that the LG-led administration is committed to ensure the Yatris on pilgrimage to the Holy Cave experience a comfortable and pleasant environment, and said that locals who provide various services during the Yatra like ponies, logistics and other services are also fully prepared to provide all support for the successful conduct of the Yatra.
And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
We remember Panna Singh, who took part in the resistance against the British during the First War of Independence of 1857 and fought the British on several occasions.
जागी जागी है धरती सारी और जागा जागा है अंबर, जागी जागी है नदियां सारी और जागा जागा है सागर, जागो।
He also organized a group of rebels and attacked the British establishments for seizing their properties and arms. Panna Singh was caught by the British in the course of a confrontation.
He was accused of plundering government properties and rebellion against the British. He was sentenced to imprisonment for life with labour in iron in May 1858 and transported from Bombay to the Andaman Islands in March 1859. Panna Singh died there in captivity on the 14th of June 1859. We salute the brave martyr.
We also remember Mir Bahadur Ali. Mir Bahadur Ali was serving the English East India Company army, but left it to take part in the First War of Independence of 1857. He was caught by the company troops while defending rebel positions and put on trial for desertion and mutiny against the British authorities.
He was sentenced to transportation for 14 years with hard labour in irons in 1857 and transported from Bombay to the Andaman Islands in April 1858. Mir Bahadur Ali died there in captivity on the 14th of June 1858. We salute the great son of the soil.
The 14th of June is the death anniversary of freedom fighter Allah Bakhsh. Allah Bakhsh was a resident of Lahore. He was among those who felt deeply agitated by the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. He took part in the complete Hartal on the 11th and 12th of April 1919 in Kasur.
Suddenly, 2 English soldiers fired upon the people. The angry people killed those 2 soldiers. A large number of people were arrested. Allah Bakhsh was arrested on the 16th of April 1919. He was accused in the Kasur supplementary case during martial law in Punjab and charged with the crime of arson at Kasur railway station and for killing 2 Englishmen. He was tried by the Martial Law Commission and executed on the 13th of June 1919. We salute the brave son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
The President, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, is in Bengaluru on a 2-day official visit to the state. He inaugurated the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the Rashtriya Military School in Bengaluru yesterday. The military school was started by the British in 1946. Today, the President will grace the dedication ceremony of the ISKCON temple built on Vaikuntha Hill in Bengaluru. It is said that the temple is a replica of Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam with architecture and deity looking the same as in Tirumala near Tirupati. However, the deity in the temple is Rajadhiraj Sri Govinda, which means the Lord is the King of Kings. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi has been asked to join investigations at the Enforcement Directorate office in New Delhi again this morning. The ED officials had questioned Mr. Gandhi for about 10 hours yesterday in connection with a money laundering probe into the National Herald case. In view of this, Delhi Traffic Police has asked people to avoid Golmethi Junction, Tughlaq Road Junction, Claridges Junction, Q Point Junction, Sunehri Masjid Junction, Maulana Azad Road Junction and Mansingh Road Junction between 7 a.m. and 12 noon today. Union Minister of Tribal Affairs Arjun Munda has said that the government has started a scheme, Pradhan Mantri Adi Adarsh Gram Yojana, for faster development of tribal villages. Addressing a press conference in Bhawanipatna in Kalahandi district of Odisha yesterday, the minister said that the focus of the scheme is on converging different programs of 41 ministries in the tribal villages to ensure their all-round development. A report.
Speaking on the development of tribal villages in the country, the minister said that the aim of the government is to take the villages into a saturation mode. Speaking on the Aspirational Districts program, Mr. Munda said that the very aim of the program is to turn the focus on such remote and backward villages of the country, which are lagging behind due to lack of attention. He said efforts are also being made to ensure the geotagging of and market linkages for the tribal products through TriFed. Before winding up his 2 days visit to Kalahandi, one of the aspirational districts of the country, the minister visited a number of places to take a first-hand stroke of the developmental activities. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The famous Snan Yatra of Lord Jagannath is being held in Puri today. The Snan Yatra is a ceremonial grand shower festival celebrated on Purnima, full moon day, of the Hindu month of Jyeshtha. This is the first occasion in the year as per Hindu calendar when the deity Jagannath, Balabhadra, Shubhadra, Sudarshan and Padan Mohan are brought out and taken in a procession to the Snan Mandap inside the temple premises. They are ceremonially bathed in 108 pots of ritually purified water and decorated for a public audience. The Khelo India Youth Games 2021 concluded yesterday with Haryana grabbing the top position in the medals tally with 52 gold, 39 silver and 46 bronze medals. Maharashtra got second position by winning 125 medals including 45 gold, 40 silver and 40 bronze. Karnataka remained at third place with 22 gold, 17 silver and 28 bronze medals in the closing ceremony organized at Indradhanush Auditorium in Panchkula. Chief guest Haryana's Governor Bandaru Dattatreya said that he is sure the Khelo India Youth Games will produce international level players. He said that the players from different states did hard work and won the medals.
In cricket, the third 2020 international of the 5-match series between India and South Africa will be played at Dr. YSR ACA VDCA Cricket Stadium in Visakhapatnam today. It will be a do-or-die encounter for the men in blue, as a win will keep them alive in the series, while another defeat will mean the loss of the series. The match begins at 7 p.m. In badminton, India's top shuttlers PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen will look to impress at the Indonesia Open 2022 BWF Super 1000 event, which will be held at the Istora Stadium in Jakarta from today. Former Indonesia Open champion Kidambi Srikanth and HS Pranoy will also be back in action for the meet.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The story of the sale of IPL media rights appears on the front pages prominently. Sold TV digital rights and rupees 44,000 crore IPL windfall reads a Hindustan Times headline. Rahul Gandhi's questioning by the ED and ensuing protests by Congress have been captioned in the Statesman as massive protests as Rahul grilled by ED. The Asian Age writes that the BJP attacked the Gandhi family for its blatant attempt to hold a probe agency to ransom. And finally, under the headline 2 billion stars in Milky Way in a new map of the galaxy, the Asian Age quotes the European Space Agency as saying that astronomers hope to use this data to better understand how stars are born.
And now, before we end the bulletin, a reminder of today's question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Which freedom fighter described the Neemu Chana massacre worse than the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? I repeat, which freedom fighter described the Neemu Chana massacre worse than the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? WhatsApp your response on 88265 46262. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Jagatguru Sri Sant Tukaram Maharaj Shila Mandir at Behu in Pune today. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls for permanent solutions for food security at WTO ministerial meeting in Geneva. Centre directs e-commerce food business operators to submit proposals on improving consumer grievance redressal mechanism within 15 days. Jammu and Kashmir tops among all union territories in e-governance services delivery, saves 200 crore rupees annually. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia urges people to follow COVID-appropriate behavior in view of the rise in cases. China restarts visa application process for Indian nationals after 18 months. 2 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, including one from Pakistan, killed in Jammu and Kashmir. Snan Yatra of Lord Jagannath is being held in Puri today. Khelo India Youth Games 2021 conclude. Haryana topped the tally with 137 medals. And in cricket, third 2020 international between India and South Africa to be played in Visakhapatnam this evening. With that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.